Hey, welcome back. What a crazy day it's been. Lots of stuff to talk about. First thing we're talking about is lawsuits. Since the NAR is settling a lawsuit, I thought I'd talk a little bit more about common seller lawsuits, their errors, fraudulent, etc. We have a little home buyers checklist that I'm working on. I want to share that with you. And the silver tsunami again, we talked about it last week. And will it make a dent or change in our current housing process market? And list price reductions, the Los Gatos Home of the Week, and Santa Clara County highs and lows, lawsuits, sellers get sued by buyers quite a bit. Not like every other thing, every couple thousand listings there's a lawsuit, right? But that's because we're not just a litigious state, but it's also the United States. And a lot of this stuff could be prevented just opening up your brain, saying it's better to over disclose than not disclose at all. I always tell my sellers it's better to scare away the nitpicky buyer or the frigid buyer and disclose everything you can think about in your house. And because in real estate, we have guides and we have forms and we have all sorts of stuff to open it up, sometimes sellers want to keep stuff away. So let's just get into it real quick. If you bought the house 10 years ago and you knew that there was a foundation issue and you haven't reviewed it or mitigated that problem, you still need to disclose it. Even if your current inspector doesn't disclose it, there's a crack in a tile, a chip in the wall, a chip in the window, crack in the window. If there's a socket that doesn't work, if there's an appliance that doesn't work that great, disclose it. Why? Because in real estate, you need to disclose everything, every material fact that has to do with the house and the neighborhood and the area. We ask, has anybody died in the property in the last 3 years? I don't care if it's been 20 years and you don't even know who died there. Somebody died because you bought it and they told you. Disclose it, because why not? It just anything that has to do with the house, you have to disclose, because what could happen? Oh, they find out about it and wasn't disclosed, and all of a sudden my religion or my ethics or my whatever says I can't live in a house where somebody died. You know what? Here in California, especially, people are choosing to stay in their home until they pass away, and a lot of times they pass away in the house. It's okay. It's a normal process of life. It's the Hakuna Matata of life, right? It's part of what happens. Do you have to disclose if a dog died in it? You could, but it's not really material, right? Now, if you have a dog that your family pet buried in your backyard, you'd probably want to disclose that just to alleviate any issues. I know somebody that owned a house in Cupertino when I was a kid, and we dug a hole because we had a little fort, and we pulled out a bag. It was a dead cat. It was gross. A dead cat. What are you going to do, right? It's just part of life. Back then, it wasn't as litigious, but it is what it is. Not thinking through fixtures. Now, what is a fixture? Anything that's attached to the house is considered a fixture. Chandelier, curtains, ovens. A refrigerator isn't considered a fixture because it's still movable. Any kind of appliances that you think you might want to take along, make sure it's not only written in the listing agreement and in the marketing, but in the purchase agreement. And if it's not written in the purchase agreement, it in a counter or an addendum saying, this is my chandelier, it's a family heirloom, it's coming with me, whether you like it or not. It was posted in the disclosures, it was posted in the marketing, it was posted all over the place, and you didn't put it in the buyer's agreement and the purchase agreement. It's now part of the agreement so that we know that my chandelier that's been with my family for 20 generations is coming with me, right? And if they walk away, but at least it's not a lawsuit once you walk away from it. Here's a big one. Saying the wrong thing to the buyer. Now, I always say, sellers, when you know that there's a viewing, get out of the house, walk away, go for a drive, say hi to them, and just keep moving. If they start asking you questions, you can say, this is a great neighborhood. We love this place, but that's pretty much it. And then you bolt. You have to say, you know what? I need your agent to talk to my agent for those kind of questions. And then bolt. The best thing for you to do is stay at least one arm's length away from that buyer, because they can ask a question and it might not settle with them. And 5 years down the road, they're like, I'm going to go find out about that thing that was really bugging me. And now they have 4 years to go in and do that investigation, and they can sue you for that, whatever it is, right? Just let it all be in documentation. I had somebody who said that they remodeled a bathroom where they only did like the paint and a new toilet, and I think it was the tile around the bathtub, and yeah, and then the tile on the floor and the vanity were still original and older, and they said it was remodeled. I'm like, I'm not putting that in my marketing. I'm absolutely not going to do that, and I'm going to have to disclose that tile floor. Just put a carpet over it or put a rug over it. No, because they can come back to you and say that you didn't tell me about this crack in the tile. You owe me $500 to fix the tile floor because I can't find that tile anymore. It's just alleviating that tension from that problem. And here's the way it works with us. We want to disclose. We want to have all the reports and documents and inspections done ahead of time so the buyer has it in their hand when they write their offer. So there you go. Over disclose, scare away the wrong buyers, because the wrong buyers are going to be a pain in your butt 5-10 years down the road. Like not disclosing neighborhood issues. You live next to a rowdy neighbor that has parties on Saturday night until 2 o'clock every morning, or you live underneath a flight path, or you're a mile away from the train tracks and you can hear it twice a day, especially when it's really quiet. You can hear the train tracks, but it's a mile away. It's still a material fact. You still have to disclose that. I live about a half mile away from the flight path. Sometimes planes come over my house, so I disclose that. Why? Because it just is. I have rowdy neighbors that are 6 doors down. Absolutely tell them, because if you didn't tell them that and they come back and say blah blah, you could be in a lawsuit. You could be in for a lot of pain and hurt and stress, and that's not what the whole disclosure system's about. So again, I always tell people we have E&O insurance. It protects us and it protects you a little bit. If you defraud the buyer in any way, shape, or form, knowingly or unknowingly, they have the right to sue you. So why wouldn't you want to disclose every material fact, everything that you want with that property, everything that, just disclose it. Over disclose, scare away the wrong buyer, and you're going to find the right buyer, because the universe is going to give you the right buyer if you do the right things. If you try to hide things, you're going to come back and there's going to be a lot of problems. So just open up yourself to that. Buyer checklist. I just spent a few minutes creating this. You can create it yourself. You can absolutely copy it. I'll have a link down below in my blog so you can check it out if you want, if it's something that's viable. But it goes through every little nook and cranny of the house. Going back to the disclosure thing. As a buyer, you want to know what you're buying, right? And I have it so you have 6 houses you can go to in one day and print this whole thing out and make little notes. Even at the end, there's the notes thing, right? I have a whole paper page on the back where you can actually write notes and keep memory. Because when you go to 6 houses, even 3 or 4 houses, things get jumbled. You forget what the kitchen looks like, etc. So it's nice to have. And it's free for you to have. Download it. Okay, silver tsunami. We keep talking about this. It's a thing. It's going to happen if anybody ever dies in the property. More and more people are deciding to stay in their property and live the rest of their lives in their property. It's the house that they raised their children in. It's a house where they feel most comfortable. And if they're completely physically and mentally with it, they're going to stay there until their body fails and they pass on. It's becoming more and more prevalent. But there are some that are deciding to move to empty nest. It's something that people will take a 5-bedroom house, sell it, and move down to a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom house because they don't need that space. They don't want to take care of the maintenance. They don't want to go up the stairs. Like I hate going up my stairs every day. When I turn 65, I'm probably going to get a smaller house because even though I raise my children here, I don't want to go up and down those stairs. And my stairs are like a ladder well. It's steep. And I'd rather not have the problem of me slipping and falling and breaking my hip. So I'm alleviating that problem by moving. So there you go. 60% of the people want to stay in their residence. Some are going to a different community. Some move to a different residence within the community, and some are unsure. Believe it or not, there's a huge tidal wave of people that are moving out of the United States. They're called expats, and they're going to Portugal, Italy, Costa Rica, all over the Caribbean islands to the Asian islands like Philippines and Laos and Cambodia and all over there. And they're just spreading out and exploring the world and doing things that they never got to do because now they're retired and their children are working all the time and might as well go do that. And it's a fun thing to do. I plan on doing that for a little bit. So just keep an eye. Will this affect us in 2024? It will start to affect us. The year that this is really going to start taking effect is 2030, because that's when the baby boomers start really retiring and moving on and start deciding what they're going to do with their home. List price reductions. If you're looking for a house and you don't want to play the competitive game of overbidding, we saw one house went for 40% over list price. We'll see that in a minute. Look for a house that's been on market for over 30 days, and then you can go and work with them a little bit. Let's just take this one right here. 6-bedroom, 3 full bath. These are not my listings. Been on market 47 days. They just dropped the price from 1.6 down to 1.5. So they dropped it 100,000. That's a little bit of motivation. It's a great house. I'm going to show my client this house. So smaller house, but you get a little bit of land. You get a little bit more than an acre, and you could probably put an ADU on it too. So there you go. All right. List price reductions. There were 86 price reductions. That's cumulative, not just this last week. So just keep that in mind. Let's get into this. This is the highest priced listing sold, $17.9 million, worth every penny. That is a gorgeous house. That's the kind of house I want. It's semi-colonial country, 6-bedroom, 6.5 bath, 8,500 square feet on a full acre of lot, and it's 12 years old, $17.9 million, and it sold in 22 days. Okay, it's the lowest list price, Columbia, and I think Columbia made it twice. The lowest list and lowest list price to sales price, which is 73%, $725,000. Original list price was $1 million. Sat on the market for 124 days. Overpriced it based on the condition, thinking, oh, it's by the Apple thing and it'll sell really. No, it didn't. It sat. When you overprice a house, it's going to sit. It's important to know that. Okay, and then Roaring Waters. That's the highest days on market. Let's go to the highest sold price, the lowest sold price, which is the lowest sales price is 426 right here, Columbia Ave. That's also the lowest sales price. And then the highest list price to sales price ratio, which was 140. Let's take a look at that. 2-3. One right here. Wow. Santa Clara, Los Altos, 7 days on market, 3-bedroom, 2 bath, quarter acre lot, built in 1974. But it's Los Altos, so it's going to sell for a lot. This is what I talk about. You attract the market, not make the market. It probably had 20, 30 offers on this. And that's what's going to happen. Okay. And then highest house for sale, which is 3.9. That one's for sale. Holy cow. This is the highest sold price one. And this was in Los Altos Hills, 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath, 5,300 square feet on a quarter acre, on a full acre, built in 1961. Wow. This one's been updated though. That is gorgeous. I'm dumbfounded. That's a great price too for a house. All right. So today we talked about seller lawsuits, buyers suing sellers. We talked about a home buyer's checklist and the silver tsunami and the 76 price reductions. That's a great place.